Happy Tuesday!
My name is Arfharim.
And my name is Alan.
And welcome
into the dungeon. You recall that monsters from the High Moor, and the High Moor is a moor that is directly behind this Misty Forest. It's quite big. It stretches quite a bit of the tradeway. But you recall that the monsters from the High Moor sometimes intrude in the forest to hunt. That's a rumor you've heard.
Do I know what kind of monsters?
You would have heard that trolls, goblinoids, that kind of monster resides in the fringes of the High Moor. You could imagine that perhaps those are the ones that are coming into the forest to hunt.
A dangerous path.
That's a rumor you've heard. And as you are thinking of that, you keep riding down the road. A chill wind begins to flow from the east.
I mean, as I recall that, I would want to start going a bit more cautiously if we're getting close to the Misty Forest.
Yes, you're pretty much on this stretch of the road. You're pretty close to it. But as I said, you start feeling a chill. You're still on the road and feel it flow from the east, and the silvery tendrils of mist that you saw curling out of the edge of the forest grow longer and longer, until a titanic fog cloud billows out of the forest. Within seconds, the entire world seems to be replaced by a swirling cloud of mist. The temperature has dropped so sharply that you can see your breath, and the fog is so thick that you can barely see more than 15 feet in front of you. Wilbur is close by, so you still have a visual of him.
Stay close, Wilbur.
Oh, what is this?
Appears we have stumbled a little close to the Misty Forest. We must be very careful here, Wilbur. I seem to recall some stories of trolls and goblins potentially frequenting these spots. We must tread very carefully now. I can barely see you. Come, right beside me.
So yeah, we want to ride side by side now. Having seen that we can't really see very far in front, want to make sure we don't lose visual on each other.
So Wilbur gets next to you, and you're now riding in tandem, surrounded by fog. As I said, it's very hard to see in front of you. What's your passive perception?
There will be 14 for Arfharim and 13 for Wilbur.
Okay, so after a while, you and Wilbur both smell a putrid stench coming from somewhere in front of you through the mist. Roll an actual perception check now for both of you.
Just when I needed a good roll. You let me down, boy! That's a total of 6 for Arfharim, and Wilbur's showing him up here with a total of 18.
Ooh, Wilbur. So Wilbur, riding beside you, grabs the reins of your horse to slow you down.
Arfharim.
Yes, Wilbur.
Listen.
As he suggests for you to listen, you now hear it. The sound of talons scraping through soil, and heavy armored footfalls not far behind. 3 creatures seem to be moving through the mist, no further than 50 feet away from you. What are you doing?
Yes, I hear that, Wilbur. Seems we're in trouble.
And as I say that, I touch my chest and cast Mage Armor.
Okay, remove that spell slot.
We must be very careful, Wilbur. Have your sword at the ready?
Okay, Arfharim.
Can you see anything?
I don't see anything.
Well, I can certainly smell something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Perhaps I should have washed better this morning.
No, Wilbur, that is not you.
Oh.
We must be cautious.
And I pull out the book, First Blood.
Okay.
Timmy,
Yes, Arfharim.
we appear to be in quite a pickle.
You do say. It seems quite misty here.
Very misty. And I don't know if you have your senses of taste and smell, but there's quite the stench.
I smell nothing, I'm afraid.
There seems to be some sort of beasties, not more than 50 feet away from us.
I see.
I need you to be a deer again and perhaps pop into that plane and have a look if there's any danger. You know what to do. This is surely evil. There's a sound of talons. I seem to recall there being tales of trolls and goblinoids. Things perhaps like bugbears or God knows what else, but we need to be very careful.
Very well. Leave it to me. So Timmy disappears in front of you? into the ethereal plane. He's gone for a while, and then he comes back, appears in front of you, almost instantly. Well, the fog is quite dense. It's hard to see, but I did get close enough. And from the other plane, 2 seemingly scaled creatures. I'm not sure what they were, and they did have ferocious claws and talons. And behind them, a plated warrior wearing heavy armor and a fearsome helmet. He also carried a great axe with him. I should be careful if I were you. They seem to be moving closer.
This is not good. I believe we were going to need your assistance, even though that risks your friend coming back from the depths of hell.
Well, what do you have in mind? We don't have much time.
Wilbur, how confident are you in finding our horses again, if we let them loose?
Oh, I know my horse pretty well already, I think. I could have a good chance of finding her.
Then let's do something. Let's let Betsy and Luna wander off and graze to the grasses to our left. And you and I will take cover behind a tree, just off the road to the right. Timmy,
Yes, Arfharim.
there's no real need for you to hide. Just stay in the ethereal plane, 15 feet away from us. If one of those scaled creatures, or that plated warrior, comes within your range, pop out and attack them. That will be a signal for us to rush forward.
Very well, and where do you wish me to stay? Here in the road.
Yes, stand right here, between me and Wilbur.
And you want me to remain here whilst you hide, yes?
Yes, in the ethereal plane.
Very well. Understood.
Wilbur, very gently, tap Luna on the bottom and encourage her to go graze in the fields yonder.
And as I tell Wilbur that, I look at him, sort of nod as if we're counting to 3, and then we both want to slap the rumps of our respective horses.
They both jerk momentarily. A light horse sound, because I don't know what to call a horse sound. A light horse sound.
A neigh?
A neigh, yeah. And they trot on off into the forest. A bit shaky because they can't see past the 15 feet in front of them, similar to you guys. But they do wander off, and after 15 feet you lose sight of them as they wander off into the thick mists of the forest, hopefully to be reunited eventually. You do hear them trot off until you don't see them anymore. Timothy disappears into the ethereal plane. And what are you and Wilbur doing?
We want to try and hide behind the trees that we see to the right side of the road as we're looking at it, which, if we're thinking the map, this would be the west side.
So roll a stealth check to try and hide behind the trees. Do it with advantage for yourself and just one single roll for Wilbur. And do it blindly.
Ooh, I forgot about the blindness.
You have advantage as you're obscured by the mists. Wilbur has disadvantage usually because of his heavy armor, but it evens out, so he just rolls one single roll.
Okay, this first roll is for Arfharim. He has a +4 to his stealth.
Okay.
And now this one is for Willie. Wilbur is a +0.
All right. You and Wilbur make your way to the west side of this road, of the tradeway, moving away from the fringes of the Misty Forest, opposite from the direction your horses went to. You leave Timothy behind, and you find a good hiding spot behind one of the trees and lay low there as quietly as you can.
Oh dear, as you can. That doesn't give me hope.
Keep an ear out, trying to hear for any movement. The stench is overwhelming. Still, roll a perception check with disadvantage. For you and for Wilbur.
That's a total of 7 for Arfharim. This next one is for Wilbur. Total of 11.
From around those 50 feet that you heard the noises come from originally, you start hearing movement and shuffling and talons scraping again on the floor, and the heavy armored footfalls. But this time they're moving away. They seem to be getting softer and moving away from you. The stench, although still lingering, also dissipates slightly.
I make eye contact with Wilbur. Put my index finger to my lips. and indicate that he should remain quiet.
You can see Wilbur with a worried expression on his face. Unsure if this is the best of ideas, he looks into the dense fog and back at you, hoping for some reassurance.
I open my hands out and I just almost like telling him, calm. You need to stay calm here.
He seems to have found solace in those actions and found the reassurance he was looking for and straightens up slightly, trying to wipe the worried expression from his face. You keep hearing out for any movement. This time, you hear the claws scraping, coming closer towards you, but from the direction from where the horses went to, from the east, coming towards you. Heavy footfalls behind them again. They step closer. Still far away though, over 20-30 feet away still, but you can distinctively hear them. The stench becomes stronger again. Then they stop. You hear muffled snarls and commanding barks coming from someone or something. Not barks like a dog, but like shouts.
As I'm looking towards Wilbur, I sort of gesture with my arm held upright, sort of insinuating to him that he should have his shield ready and sword this time, rather than holding his sword in two hands.
He nods and brings out his shield. Again, you hear movement. The scraping of the claws and talons begin to make their way towards you. They don't seem certain of where they're going. You get the feeling that their movement is scattered, a bit erratic, as if perhaps they don't quite know where they're going. Maybe they've lost themselves in the mist, but they are venturing towards you, ever closer now.
Oh, Timmy, where are you?
I'm saying that under my breath for roleplay purposes, but for audio quality purposes, I've had to say it a little louder.
Very well. Again, the footsteps stop to a sudden halt. You hear nothing from Timothy or see him. More screams of anger, as if telling a child off from that booming voice that you can only imagine comes from the armor-clad figure that Timothy saw.
Is it a language I understand? I'm guessing not.
What languages do you speak?
Elvish, Gnomish, and Common.
No, you do not understand what they are saying. It's actually a language that isn't spoken by many very often. At least not spoken by those civilized. Again, footsteps. More scratching on the floor. Louder this time. And slowly getting fainter and fainter. Until eventually, you can hear them no more.
So just to clarify, I've heard them getting softer and softer. As in, and this is important for me to understand before I do something crazy here. As in slowing down and stopping, or as in moving further away from me?
Moving further away, north. So pretty much towards the direction you were coming from. To the point you can't hear them any longer. And also the stench is barely noticeable.
Okay, so I look towards Wilbur and I signal to him to stay. And I point towards the direction where Timmy was, and I do like a little shimmy, trying to do my best ghost impression to just let him know and try and reassure him I'm not going anywhere, I just want to get close enough to where Timmy was.
Okay.
And then I very quietly want to start moving towards Timmy so that I'm 15 feet away from where he was, and then sort of signal to him, beckoning him to come.
So you want to be within 15 feet of his sight range, right? So that he can see you.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so you walk around 10 feet, and already you can see where you told Timothy to wait and to hide. You signal for him, and he appears behind you.
Yes, Arfharim. Shh. I'm sorry.
What did you see, Timmy?
I saw the figures again. I couldn't catch the heavy-armored humanoid's face. It was obscured by shadow.
That is not good.
No, but they headed north. They seemed to be lost in the mist.
Quite convenient for us. We've got the issue of our horses now. Not really sure how far they went.
Well, they are lost themselves.
Oh dear. Wilbur,
Yes, Arfharim.
Could you try and listen out with your keen ear, see if you can hear any horsey sounds, the clippity-clop, or the neighing, or the munching of grass. But don't move from where you are. It's far too risky, with your large frame and clinkety-clankety armor.
And just to clarify for myself and for the listeners, when we were hearing those claws or talon sounds as you described them, scraping through the soil, did we hear any horsey sounds? Any clippity-clops like I've told Wilbur?
No.
Okay, so I want Wilbur to do precisely that then. I don't want him to move, but I trust his perception far more than I trust Arfharim's. And basically I don't want him to move from where he is. I just want him to listen out, even with the disadvantage cancelled out by the mist. I just cannot risk Wilbur rolling a natural one.
Okay, so roll a perception check.
Here we go. Not bad, not bad. That's a total of 16.
Wilbur cups his ear, slightly exaggeratedly, and tries to hear for any movement, any horse sounds, any hooves, any neighing.
I'm sorry, Arfharim. Can't hear them from here. They must have gone deeper in the forest.
That's quite worrying. How attached are you to Luna?
Oh, well, it's been a whole 4 days, Arfharim. We were bonded. And are we just gonna abandon them?
I don't know, Wilbur, but we're in quite the conundrum.
We could get lost in the forest, Arfharim.
Well, we're not planning on going in the forest.
After the horses.
That's too risky.
Oh, perhaps we should have slapped the bottoms to go the other direction.
We would have been in the same issue.
But at least they wouldn't be in the forest.
I'll tell you what, it's going to sound very risky, but at least my armor won't make any noise. I won't go any further than 90 feet or so. That way Timmy is within range of the book, and he can pop to me if needed. I will go in a straight line as the crow flies, so I won't get lost. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, Wilbur, but if I don't see the horses from there, we're going to have to carry on our travels on foot.
Oh, are you sure it's safe, though? I don't want you getting lost, too.
If I'm in trouble, I will shout out. If you hear my shout, Timmy, pop yourself back into the book, and you'll be beside me instantly. Wilbur, you know I will be traveling strictly in a straight line, so if you hear the shout, charge towards me.
Okay.
Alright, so you're heading towards the direction where you let the horses go
Yes,
for 90 feet.
and I'm going in a straight line. I don't want to deviate. And as I'm walking, I want to be keeping a active ear out for the horses. And as I'm walking, I want to be checking the floor for tracks, see if I see the horse tracks. I'm not interested in these creatures' tracks that we seem to have somehow miraculously avoided. I just want to focus and see if I can see what direction the horses have gone.
So I want you to roll me a survival check. That's to see how well you can maintain position and how well you can maintain that straight route you want to take. Because remember, it's hard when you don't have a kind of an indicator right in front of you to know exactly if you're going straight or not. There will be trees, but you're getting into the Misty Forest now, so trees will become more common and it'll be denser. Also, roll me a perception check to see if you hear anything. The survival check will also count to see if you see any tracks.
Okay. As I'm walking, can I do a little Hansel and Gretel moment and sort of from the pouch vouch pull out one of Wilbur's crackers
Yeah, sure.
and sort of...
Want to drop them to leave a trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Does that affect my survival?
Roll
Check or-
a straight survival, and it'll be easier for you to find your way back if you do get lost.
Okay. Not too shabby. That's a total of 16 on survival.
And roll for perception.
What was we used to call it back when we were playing Lone Wolf? The goose egg and the duck egg.
Yeah.
This is a duck egg moment.
Duck egg.
This is the natural one.
Oh, damn. Alright, so a natural one on perception. You do get a few crackers, but you quickly realize that perhaps there's not enough substance on them to make a proper trail for like 90 feet like you wanted to do. At the end of the day, how much crumbs can you get out of a cracker? But there is something that perhaps you could use to get back if you do get lost. You don't find it too hard, as the terrain helps. There are trees and it is getting denser, but it's quite easy to use them as markers for now. You move those 90 feet, you do see hoof prints making their way that way, but you don't hear anything. At least you don't hear horses. You do notice that the footprints began going south, so they turned at one point and began going south.
Okay, I'm not risking that. The last thing I want to do is get lost in the mists of the Misty Forest all on my own. So I start making my way back towards Timmy and Wilbur.
Yes, without much trouble, you still remember the way you came in quite vividly, and you're able to reach where Wilbur and Timmy are.
Any luck, Arfharim?
Not quite, Wilbur. The good news, though, is that our horses turn south, which means that, hopefully, they will make their way back onto the road.
Oh, I hope so.
I'm afraid at this stage, all we can do is get back on the road and travel very carefully.
Yes, after seeing these foes, I suggest we don't hang around for much longer, if my opinion is of any worth.
Of course it is, of course it is. I suggest we travel in a single file. Wilbur, you take the front. I will remain 15 feet behind you.
Where do I take the front to?
Follow the road, Wilbur.
Oh, okay.
So basically our marching order is Wilbur taking the front, a gap of 15 feet, or rather so that I can see 15 feet, so that Wilbur's always in my sight, which is 10 feet of distance between us. And then the same again with Timothy taking up the rear. And we want to try and move down this road very carefully, very quietly, hopefully trying to navigate our way down the high road, and hopefully soon leave the damned Misty Forest behind us.
Okay, so in that marching order, you set off very quietly, very slowly down the tradeway. It's easy going in the sense that it's a well-marked road, so it's hard to get lost. And about 2 hours later, you start noticing that the fog starts thinning. You're leaving the forest, or at least the road is winding away from the forest, and you're leaving the obscuring nature of this thick mist behind you.
What time of day is it at this point?
You entered the forest early-ish morning, so it's approaching half day, or it's already noon by now. You know that you're a 4 ways from Daggerford to the north, and you know that in around 2 more days you will reach the small hamlet of Willowshade Hollow that Captain John told you about.
Now with the Misty Forest behind us and the mist dissipating.
Well, it was a close one. Alas, no sign of Betsy and Luna.
No, unfortunately, you didn't find them on your trek that way.
Oh, we just got them too.
I know, Wilbur, but they served our purpose. They got us 4 days away from Daggerford. We're 2/3 of the way from Willowshade Hollow. Money well spent.
Oh, but I miss her already.
Are you camping out for lunch or something, or you're gonna continue alone?
I mean, if it's noon, we'll carry on walking till 1 o'clock-ish, and then we'll stop somewhere for a bite to eat.
Very well. After leaving the thick mists behind, your spirits are raised again, with the warm sun helping you on your journey. Around an hour or 2 passes, and you're ready to settle for some lunch, when you spot, just off the roadside, a cluster of canvas tents and wagons arranged in a semicircle around a crackling fire. Hanging lanterns sway from a makeshift archway mocking the entrance, with a wooden sign that reads, in Common and Elvish. Did you read and speak Elvish?
Yes, I do.
And you can see that it's written in common and then underneath as well in Elvish. Camp of 1,000 trades. All sales final. Beyond you see a small figure with a fiery red mustache and a purple vest that's waving enthusiastically as you approach.
Come, trinkets, talismans, and true treasure. All honest. Mostly.
And that is where we're going to end it.
Ooh, a safe place, perhaps, to rest and share some tales with.
Maybe. Or perhaps it appears to be.
Don't do this to me. I'm going to be a whole week scratching my brain, as are our listeners. But if you, just like I, cannot wait a whole week, make sure you visit our website, www.i2td.com. Follow the links there to everywhere where Into the Dungeon resides. Make sure you click on our little coffee cup as well. It takes you to our Buy Me a Coffee page, where if you wish, you may choose to support the podcast, help us keep making these wonderful episodes for you, by purchasing us a potion. It's not only a way to support the podcast physically, but also a way for you to be a part of the stories we tell and help shape the adventures we play, because your potion will appear in-game and thus directly influence the adventure.
If you cannot donate or wish not to, worry not. You can still help us out tremendously by leaving a review, giving us some ratings on your podcast player of choice, and perhaps following us in some of our social media. Also, spread the word of Into the Dungeon with friends and family. We thank you very much for your efforts. And now with that out of the way, it's time for the end of the episode club.
The last one standing!
Where you know now we give you a password, then you use said password in a comment, and that's a way for us to know who's the last one standing in the true Algiro Masabrada. Do you have a password for us this week, Nick?
Yes, this week's password is hide and seek.
Hide and seek, there you have it. Care to explain, or it's pretty self-explanatory?
Yeah, we were hiding, and whatever those beasties were, which we will now never know.
They were seeking, but they didn't find you.
Oh, poor beasties. Perhaps our, hopefully, new friends in this camp of 1,000 trades can shed some light on what kind of highwaymen patrol this part of the forest.
Maybe. You can ask them next week.
But anyway, we hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have. I need to go have a shower, because I am dripping in sweat from the stress that this episode has caused me. Just a little shout out here as well, because we've been playing on the D&D Beyond map player. What's it called?
Maps. Yeah, very creatively named maps, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, these maps, this is the first time I've been a player in a situation as tense as this, because, usually you play and you have your map on the board and you can see everything and you've got to pretend that you can't see things. But it's got this nifty little feature where there's a fog of war. Those of you who are old farts like Alan and myself may recall games like Age of Empires or Warcraft.
Oof. I just now have the hankering to play that game again.
I'm surprised that hasn't had like a
Fond memories.
remake, but like a...
I think it has, though.
Yeah, but...
Like the originals,
That's what I was going to say, though. A remake, but... Basically, I just want them to re-release it. I don't want them to remake it.
Just the same one, but with higher graphics, like HD graphics.
I wouldn't even care for the HD graphics. Just give me the same game and just let it run on modern devices. But I digress. The map, obviously, Al on his screen can see everything, but I could only see 15 feet around Arfharim, so man, was that tense. Fun way to play.
Yeah, it helps quite a bit. If you have the subscription to D&D Beyond, make sure you make use of those maps. Very useful.
For sure. And just before we sign off, just because I've given a little shout out to D&D Beyond, I should add there, I think it's about time we remind you of the awesome website tabletopaudio.com, which very kindly and very freely provides all the amazing music that you hear on all of our episodes.
Yep. Apart from the fog of war, the music also helps drive the tension up.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know what track that was that you were playing. The very tasty one, aptly stressful, aptly tense. Like I said, I'm dripping. I need a cold shower.
By the way, the title of the song in Tabletop Audio that we were using for this scene is called Troll Grotto.
Ooh, baby!
Baby!
Oh!
Not
Spoiler, perhaps it was a troll.
Maybe. It's not the type of grotto you would find in Hugh Hefner's palace.
Damn.
It's more of a, like a cave full of trolls.
But yeah, check out that track on Tabletop Audio. They've got something for just about everything. Whether you're playing board games, TTRPGs, or different kind of games that require role-playing. Make sure you give them a visit and listen to their awesome tracks.
Yep. Anyway, we are not sponsored by any of these plugs, so yeah. If you find our words kind, maybe sponsor us next time. Thanks for listening, and we hope to catch you next week as we delve into the dungeon.